Now the reason I'm throwing these individual fish to these two stalks is because the fish that we get in is frozen. And unfortunately, when fish is frozen, it loses a lot of nutrients. So we actually put a tablet into these, which is called a seabird tablet. And it's like a multivitamin. And that just allows us to replenish any of the nutrients that may be lost in the freezing process. But because of these little fish here, now the most dangerous part on the stalk actually isn't those long legs, it's rather that very impressive beak. They actually use that to stab things when they feel threatened. The one on the right is a female. Her name's Jabby, and you can tell that she's a female because she has that beautiful golden iris around her eye, whereas the male on the left here has a completely black jet eye. And that's a way you can tell the difference between the two sexes. And that's obviously called sexual dimorphism. Now, we don't actually know what sex they are until visually, until they turn around 3 years of age, which is when they sexually mature. The only reason we know that this guy here is a male is because we've had him tested DNA from his feather. So that's how we know exactly that this little one's a male, because he's not quite 3 years old yet. He's just starting to get the beautiful red feet. Introduction of feral animals such as feral pigs, feral dogs, all those sorts of things. And obviously being hit by cars, which is probably the #1 reason for their death. You'll notice that they have a very beautiful structure on the top of their head. It's often referred to as a helmet, but its true name is called a casque. Now this casque, while it looks really hard and heavy, it's actually really light. It's made out of keratin, the same substance as your hair and fingernails, and on the inside it has a honeycomb-like consistency.
Exactly, the one that's just here is going under again. Oh, thank you. Oh, guys, there's one right under it.
Down.
Oh.
Đi vào má.
Oh, my big God.
The berries.
Come on. Go for it. Come on. Alright. Come on.
Here comes one first. He's going under.
Back. Alright, hold that back. Come on. Yeah, you're looking 2.5 to 3 metres on average. The males do 5 metres on average. So, yeah, the males get much larger.
Don't go out of the boat! Don't go out of the boat!
So, would you like to go for a swim in
I think that's enough food going out.
like he's half interested. Look at this. Look at this. Alright, all yours. Go, go, go. Sweet, that'll keep him happy for about 2 seconds, I think. Now, I'll introduce you to this crocodile. He's a fantastic animal, actually. I've been working with him for a long time. And we gave him an... What are you doing? He's got a bit of character too. So, like I said, he's a saltwater crocodile. He's doing an excellent job at demonstrating this. The element of surprise is how they capture a lot of prey on us. Okay? Probably the best way to describe him actually would be a semi-aquatic ambush predator. So, in the water and at the water's edge is where they're deadly. That's where the majority of their hunting comes from. They have excellent senses. Eyes, ears and nose are good for the aerial environment like us. And he can do this thing that we call the minimum exposure posture, where he only exposes about 2% of his whole body mass. The only thing that sticks out of the water, eyes, ears and nose. Alright, and that's not giving away the rest of his 4 metres that he's hiding behind him. Aids him in detecting prey. He has also got pressure receptors all over his body, particularly his upper lower jaw actually. So when he's fully submerged in the murky water, he can't see or smell, but he would pick up on this sort of stuff. The splashings, vibrations. Doing this, it's like ringing the dinner bell. And I'm sure he's honing in already. When he feels like he's in strike range, that's when they explode out of the water with speed and power to try to secure their prey. See if we can get him to come up a little bit. Can I come out here? Can I come out? No. He's in a bit of a mood today. Alright. You going to come up? Yeah, well. Oh yeah. So when they lunge out, guys, they just latch onto you and they don't let go. Now I don't know if you heard just then, or saw, I don't know if you saw his teeth. They're massive. They're conical in shape. They've evolved for gripping. Penetrate, interlock and hold is what the teeth structure do. And they need to bite extremely hard to drive those peg-like teeth into their prey. So you can hear the popping sound. Once they drown their prey items, that's when they try to eat you. But Hagrid, he can swallow things like fish and crabs, no problem at all. And he's got a little bit. You like that bag? Suck it. But if Hagrid grabs something large, don't come out the gate. If he had a hold of me, he cannot swallow me whole. So he's got to break parts off me. What are you doing there, boy? He's got to break parts off me, alright? And he cannot chew his food like we do. He's very good at the crushing, but moving the jaw side to side like we do, he can't do it. So what he typically tends to do is rolling, the death rolling, to break his food apart, or the head shaking. Sort of when he grabbed that rope then, see how he sort of flicked his head around a bit? That's what they'll do. And the death rolling and stuff like this, it's quite impressive to see firsthand. Are you guys interested in seeing something like that? Yeah. Of course you are. So it's pretty dangerous, so I might get Brody to do it. What do you reckon? Now guys, people get very concerned about Brody jumping into a crocodile enclosure because it looks like he's 12. But he's actually 18 and he has signed the appropriate paperwork. I'm just going to leave you to deal with this situation, Brody. Come on, mate, do something. What are you going to do, mate? Alright, I'll tap the glass and see what happens. Oi. No, he's not looking. I'll tell you what, bro, you feel like being a ninja? I'm going to close his eyes and you flip over that back fence. Please don't die. Alright. I'm just going to shut his eyes with the stick. I can just wiggle a bit. Shuts his eyes. This might give Brody a chance. The ninja behind him. Come on, mate, before he goes extinct. Okay. See if you can get him lure back around. He's got to go. Alright, so Brody's just hooked him up on that bait rope that we have. So he's going to want to take him out to submerge, just like we talked about. But if Brody pulls on certain angles of the rope, it should entice him to roll, manipulate him a little bit. Might need to change your angles there, buddy. Let him drop back there, Brody. He's in a tight spot for you. Alright, one up, one up. Alright, let's see what we can do. Let's go for the roll. There we go, one very slow roll. Let's see if we can do it a bit quicker. That wasn't too bad. One more, see if we can get one more. Oh my god. Alrighty. Geez, you guys are lucky today. You just observed the slowest rolling crocodile in the world. A good question. Have you guys ever wondered what to do if a crocodile has got a hold of you, how to make it let go? Is there any suggestions there? Punch it in the nose? Chuck chicken at it? There you go, dude. Anyone else? Eyes? Yeah, look. I don't think there's a set strategy of what to do if a croc's got you, as long as you do something, right? I like the eye gouge, poke him in the eyes, because I've heard of a story where that's worked. And I've heard of a story where it hasn't. It's definitely something that I'll give a shot. Here we go. Oh, very nicely done, Brody. Alright. I'll run across and then you can feed him. We'll just give him another piece of chicken. He's coming, isn't he? We're getting a bit closer, Brody. Alright, all yours, Harry. Oh, he messed it up. We'll give him another piece. They got it. Very nice. Give him the clap, guys. That was really good, Brody. Alright, nicely done. So like I said, I like the eye gouge story because I've heard of a case where it worked, and I've heard of cases where it hasn't. But I'll tell you the case where it did work. It happened about 20 years ago now, up here in North Queensland. In fact, it was up in Cape York Peninsula, so north from here in the big wilderness area, on the west coast. And this is Croc Central up there. In fact, there's lots of different wildlife there, very remote. And there was a family camping right next to the water's edge, which is not recommended up here. We always say if you want to go camping, 50 to 100 metres back from the water. When I go camping, I sleep in the back of my truck. I feel a little bit safer, you know. And this family wasn't doing that. They're right next to the water, and in the middle of the night, a big croc, bigger than Hagrid here, walked into the campsite, picked this old lady up off the ground and started walking back towards the river. Luckily for this lady, she wasn't alone. Someone else was there, and this guy saw the situation, and without thinking, he just tackled this big 4.5 metre croc, jammed it in the eyes, and it worked. Spat the lady out. This guy was no doubt a hero. You can never take that away from him. Very brave. But when we looked into the story, as we do, when it comes to croc attack stories, we investigate them a lot because we educate people about them. And we soon discovered two things that were a little bit off with this story. First of all, this guy's an Aussie. Gets a little bit sus from there on out, you know. Second of all, this Aussie just successfully saved his mother-in-law. We talked about it, we said that's quite un-Australian if you ask me. That's a perfect opportunity wasted, isn't it? But anyway, it worked, he's a hero, whatever. The eye gouge, recommended. Punching him in the nose, recommended. They do have the nasal disc on the end of their snout. It's a bit of a soft pad, they don't seem to like it when you tap them on it. So yeah, try that. I've even heard of a theory where you can shove your arm down their throat to flood their lungs. And they have to spit you up. That one is a theory. I've not seen that in play, but if you're in the situation, nothing else is working, give it a shot. Why not? If you want my personal opinion, I think if a crocodile this size or bigger has got you in the water, I think you're done. I don't think you can outfight them. I don't hear of many stories of people surviving situations like that. Alright? But do something. People often suggest to me you should try playing dead. Please don't ever do that. You've seen what they do. They bite you and pull you under. You won't be playing for too long. So just do something. Another question that people tend to ask me a lot is how do you run away from them if they're chasing you? Now, I haven't been chased by a wild crocodile, but in this captive environment, us boys here, we get chased every day. We've got over 3,000 crocodiles on this property, and we interact with them in all sorts of levels. If it's feeding and doing demonstrations like this, capturing and restraining the animals, or collecting the eggs. We've had a lot of crocs have a fair shot at us, and none of us here has been caught by a big, mature male crocodile. We've had a very lucky run. We've had a few close calls, but no one's ever been hooked up. We do get bitten occasionally by the smaller crocs. They're what we call love bites around here. All you're looking at is puncture wounds and lacerations, and that's just a bit of character building stuff for you, isn't it? So when it comes to running away from them, you know what we do? We take off flat out. Opposite direction, push everyone else out of the road. And to be honest, that's naturally what you want to do anyway. That's naturally what you want to do. Try not to fall over when you're running away from them. That can result poorly. Try not to climb a tree either, unless you are desperate, unless there's no other options. The reason why I say don't climb trees is crocodiles are extremely patient. And this guy can go without food for not just a few hours or a few days. We're talking 6 months, 12 months, no problem. Alright, and I've heard of a few stories where people have been stuck in trees for like a week or more. Crocs sitting under the tree waiting. You've got to be careful there. You might hear suggestions when it comes to running away from crocs. You run in zigzags or circles. Who's heard of these ones? Yep. Zigzags. Look, whoever came up with these strategies, I strongly suspect they've never been chased. Zigzags, all it's going to do is slow you down and make an easier target for them to get you. And circles, who thought of that one? Where does a circle end up? Back where you started, you're probably going to die. So just no strategies, run the opposite direction as quick as you can. Luckily for us, we're quite good on land, and you'd be surprised how much extra enthusiasm you'll have behind you when there's a croc chasing you. This animal, this is his domain, this is where he's at his best. When he comes on land, he's not a cheater. He will do a short burst of speed and probably max out around 8 to 10 kilometres an hour. So we can outrun that, no problems. By the time he's done a 5-10 metre charge at you, he'll probably give up and resort back to the water. By the time he's done that distance, you would have done about 2 kilometres. Alright, so we can outrun him. No strategies, opposite direction. Alright, now, I don't want to give him some more food, but before we continue any further, I might hand it over to you guys for some questions. Now, we do like questions because it's a good way to break the show. A lot of these fishermen, some of them are a little bit arrogant and they tell you to go away. And that's alright, you just hang around, make sure you're filming it, because if he gets nailed, that's what we call natural selection around here. Alright, that's about a foot deep of water. I had another fisherman tell me he believed a big crocodile cannot sneak up on you in shallow water. And how wrong that is. Hey, he's got my stick out. Get closer than I thought. Hagrid. You feel better now, mate? It's full on, isn't it? So you can see how dangerous they are. Look, he wants to eat me, don't you? Are you all G'd up now, are you? What a psycho. When it comes to the attacks here in Australia, luckily enough for us, even though we got the highest densities of saltwater crocs in the world, attacks are at an all-time low. Alright, luckily for us, most people that come to the northern parts of Australia, the tourists that come visit or the locals that live here, they adopt that little thing called common sense. And that goes a long way with living with these predatory animals safely. And normally when the attacks do happen, he's just eyeing me off this croc. Normally there's human contributing factors involved. Alright, so people are taking unnecessary risks in crocodile country. And we've looked into this. Turns out, the majority of the people get grabbed by crocs, they're in the water with them. They're not only in the water with them, they're doing it in the dark, at night time. Guess what else is involved? Alcohol is a huge contributing factor. So if you don't want to be attacked by something like that, try not to swim with them in the dark when you're drunk. It might help you out a little bit. And you might be thinking to yourselves, who would do that? Because that's crazy, right? And you always speak to the Aussie locals up here and they always assure you how crocs love to eat tourists. Particularly the Germans, that's why they put the Achtung sign on the boards. I don't know why they singled the Germans out of that. Why not, I suppose. There was only one German lady killed by a crocodile here in Australia. We're talking 15 years ago now. And she was on an organised tour in the Kakadu National Park. And she was told by the tour guide it was okay to go swimming somewhere at 10 o'clock at night in a billabong that was full of crocs. And this young lady, she lost her life. That's a shame, that one. And that tour guide got in big trouble. Kakadu National Park is renowned for crocodiles. People come from all over the globe to see them there in their natural habitat. So that is a shame, that one. Normally the people that take these sorts of risks, I have to admit, it's usually the Aussie locals. So being locals, they know there's crocs there, but they take the risk anyway. They would have to tell them the old Aussie attitude, she'll be right. What's the worst that could happen? She'll be right, take the risk anyway. And I'll tell you a quick story to put things in perspective. In 2014, there was a fatality in the Northern Territory, Adelaide River. If you guys are unfamiliar with this river system, it holds some of the highest densities of saltwater crocs in the world. We're talking 10 to 15 mature crocodiles per kilometre. And I was on this river system 2 days before this attack took place with one of the leading crocodile scientists. We were going out checking out crocs and having a bit of fun, and this scientist told me, very knowledgeable man, he told me if you decide to go swimming in a river system with densities as high as 10 to 15 mature crocodiles per kilometre, there is a 100% chance you're going to get attacked. 100%. That Aussie she'll be right attitude will not come into play there. She'll be dead, more like it. 2 days later, fisherman, him and his wife are up on the bank casting out their lures. I think they're doing most things right. They're up on the bank, flicking out their lines. The fatal mistake this guy made was his lure got entangled in some reeds and he decided to wade into the Adelaide River to retrieve his $10, $20 lure. The right thing to do, cut your lure, cut your losses, keep your life. But this guy pushed it, got complacent, and when he went in, you guys know what happened. Croc lunged out, grabbed him, pulled him under. Happens really quick too. Croc attacks, and they happen quick. They just lunge out, pull you out under. The wife heard a bit of a scream. All she saw was the tip of the tail. This guy was gone out of this world forever. That is a shame. Real shame. It's also quite tragic for the animals involved too. Because when a croc eats someone, part of the practice is they go out and shoot it. Sometimes they shoot half a dozen or more big mature males before they find the culprit. And some of these big boys, they could be 50 years plus. They would have survived a lot, survived the hunting era here in Australia. And they've earned their place here, and because people get complacent and don't take responsibility for their actions, the animals cop it. And that is a bit of a shame. These things, they don't gather up on a pub on a Friday night and go, do you know what we should do? Attack some people. It's not what they do. What we're looking at is an opportunistic predator, and if you give it an opportunity, like wading into the Adelaide River, there's going to be one outcome, and it's not going to be good. And in this story, they located the animal rather quickly. I think he still had a bit of evidence in his mouth, which is always hard to explain. And they shot this crocodile, and it upset so many people, because this crocodile was well known, some could say even liked. All the locals knew him. All the tourists that had been there before, they could recognise him from sight. He was massive, much bigger than this one. very darkly pigmented, so his body was like jet black, but his head was standout white. And the locals nicknamed this crocodile Michael Jackson. And they shot old Michael for this, and that upset a lot of people. But something's obviously got to be done about the animal, whether or not it deserves a bullet. Yeah, you can decide on that on your own accord, I suppose. Now, what we're going to do is get Brody to do the last feed. You guys want to see that? Hagrid's pretty full on today, mind you, so I'm going to send Brody in and just hope he survives. He might be burning now and start splashing. It's coming! Oh, very nicely done. Quick hand. Alright. Now guys, I don't want to fearmonger you too much about the crocs. We can safely coexist with them. Just modify your behaviour around the waterways and be very selective where you go swimming. Very selective where you go swimming. In the local area, guys, we're in croc country. Every estuary from here to Cairns or here to Port Douglas, there'll be a croc in there. Maybe not the densities like the Northern Territory or up in Cape York, but all it takes is one. Alright, so there's places you can safely swim, like Mossman Gorge, Crystal Cascades, Josephine Falls. Swimming pool is always a solid choice. If you decide to swim at the beach, be a bit careful, guys. It's tropical jellyfish season, they are dangerous. I would swim where the lifeguards are set up in the nets. No nighttime swimming, that's asking for trouble. And don't swim anywhere near the river mouths. And if you're still a little bit worried, swim in the middle of everyone else. There you go. Now don't forget about the other activities that we have on for the day. After this, down the hill here, second one on the right, we've got the kangaroo and wallaby paddock, and they're feeding them, so you guys can get some hands-on feeding yourselves, the kids and stuff like that. After the kangaroo feeding, the cassowaries are next. That's also a hands-on approach. You can feed them. Then the grand finale for us here at the park, behind us at 4:30, is the riveting koala feeding. Those suckers might actually move for you, but for myself, Hagrid and Brody, thank you very much. Thanks guys, have a good one.
With wet weather often.
Класти ему там.
So here we've got our common wombat Pebbles over here, often hiding because he doesn't really like humans. Poor little guy, he's just a bit shy. His name is Tariki. He is a southern hairy-nosed wombat. Now, they're close relatives to northern hairy-nosed wombat.
Po prostu są przeżarte. Chyba tak. No przeżarcie ryzy ten, bo tamto to też tylko nie widziałeś zębów.
They do love dinner time. Artie, come here. You have to be very careful of their teeth as well.
Yeah.
So they will probably go 190.
So that's just based on their weight?
Yeah. So we do like switch up the food every single day. Sometimes we give them raw meat, other times we give them chicken necks, chicken heads, bits of chicken. We also give them beef and offal, beef heart, a bit of everything really, so they get everything they need. So these guys are rare to endangered, so you'd be very lucky to see them out of. So these guys are found along the So yeah.
Green areas, not in central, but just
Wygląda råtta.
Stråkläder. Nej, hvad den så?
Ja, men det är ju för fan så. Tasmans.
Hvad er dog det for et dyr?
Det er en fauna. Mamma er en fauna.